Shalom, Israel. I'm doing a quick little lesson. It shouldn't be no longer than 10, 15 minutes. Um, I know a lot of people wonder why are bad things happening to them. Car breaking down, they're sick, just different things that happen. And people are always wondering why are these things happening to them. I want to go through about 5 things that could be a possibility of what's going on with you. We're going to start off with first thing to look at is, are you in sin? That's the first thing you want to look at. If we go to Romans 6 and 23, it says, for the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God is eternal life through Jesus Christ our Lord. So a lot of people are going through things because they're in sin. They're not keeping the commandments. They're pretending to be keep the commandments. They may know all kind of Hebrew. They can know anything that they think. They can say, use all types of terms and everything, but they're not keeping the commandments. You have Israelites that go out there and teach. You have some they'll take the fringes off when they leave camp. You have some that's wearing the ZZs. You have all kind of mess. You have Israelites cursing. You have Israelites doing all kind of wearing hats on their head. You have all kind of commandments and laws being broken. You have excuses being made to break commandments, excuses for not wearing 100% garment. Uh, I've heard all kind of excuses for that. Hey, you don't know if the garment is 100%, even though it says it on there. Just any excuse. We're in captivity. I can't keep the Feast of Tabernacles because we're in captivity. Or well, I can only keep 3 days of the Feast of Tabernacles because we're in captivity. I have to work on the Sabbath day because I need to make money. And so I got to work on the Sabbath day. The Most High understand when He doesn't understand those things. The wages of sin is death. So the first thing you need to look at is, are you in sin? Are you breaking the law? Not The question is not whether God is allowing you to break the law. The question is, are you breaking any laws in the scriptures? If the answer is yes, it could possibly be that. The second thing it could be, if you find that the first one, that you're not breaking any laws that you know of, then number two is, did you listen to the Spirit? Did you obey the Spirit? Sometimes we'll hear a voice that tells us to do something and we won't do it. I'll give you an example. Had my car, I I heard the voice tell me. I did an oil change. I put something in my oil, and the Spirit said, empty all your oil out and put new oil in there. And me being lazy and me just changing the oil and not wanting to buy new oil and spend more money on new oil, I didn't listen to it. No later than 5 days later, my engine blew out and I had to go purchase a new car. I heard the voice, but because of me wanting to not spend the extra money on some oil, it cost me a whole new car. So the second thing, if you're not breaking the Most High's laws, is, are you hearing the voice when it's speaking to you? Are you able to recognize when that voice is speaking to you? And are you obeying that voice? If you don't obey it, then sometimes things happen. Okay? We go to Galatians 5 and 25 says, if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. So we're supposed to be walking in the Spirit if we are living by the Spirit. Sometimes we won't do what the Spirit leads us to do. Maybe it'll tell us to go down this street and we go down another street because we don't feel like it. And we're saying, oh, well, I always go this way. But something said going down another street, and all of a sudden you get in an accident going down the street and not obeying the Spirit. So sometimes it's because you didn't obey the Spirit. The voice spoke to you. You either didn't recognize it was the voice, or either you ignored it and said, I'm going to do it anyway. You needed money. You went out and the Spirit said, don't go out and sell drugs or do whatever. And you decided to go out and you got caught up, and now you're in jail. Now you got to spend all kind of money to get out of jail when the whole purpose of you selling the drugs was to make money, but now you're in a worse situation. The Spirit said, do not do it. And you knew it, but you said, you ignored it. And then you got yourself caught up. So sometimes the Spirit will speak to us, tell us things to do, and we will ignore the Spirit. So that could be it. Now, if you find that you're not in sin, you didn't hear the voice speaking to you, telling you what to do, then number three is, did you ask for counsel from your leaders? Did you ask for counsel? Did you ask counsel of your leaders when dealing with that situation? A lot of us are too prideful as Israelites, and we don't want to counsel. And a lot of predicaments, there are people who already know how to deal with those predicaments. So if we go to Proverbs 20 and 18, it says, every purpose is established by counsel, and with good advice make war. See, every purpose, everything that you want to do, you want to seek counsel for. Should I buy this kind of car? Uh, 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 should I move and go here? It doesn't matter. I know we all know you're grown. You don't have to ask, but maybe there's a reason. Maybe your leader will tell you it's probably not good for you to move because he know that you're probably not going to be able to come and build with them, and you probably will end up going off. So he says it's probably not a good idea to move. But did you ask him? Did you say, hey, I'm thinking about moving to this side of town, or I'm thinking about moving to another state? Did you say anything, or did you say, I'm grown, so I don't need to ask any questions? So a lot of times we're in situations because we didn't seek counsel. I've been able to help a lot of people, those that have come to me asking questions. It didn't matter whether it was dealing with money. It didn't matter whether it was dealing with their spiritual life, their wife, their husband, just any situation. A lot of people are be able to be helped if they lower their pride and ask and get counsel. So the third question is, did you ask for counsel? Did you seek counsel from leaders and wise men? Because it could be the reason you're in that situation is because you didn't seek counsel. They could have told you what to do. So we did number one, if you find that you're not in sin, you're not breaking laws, you're keeping the Sabbath day, you're convocating, you're wearing fringes, and you're keeping all the high holy days exact as the scriptures say, not half keeping them, because there's a lot of Israelites that half do it. They half wear fringes. They wear fringes when they want to. They say they left them at home. All kind of stuff you hear. You may be in a situation because you're in sin. Number Then if you find that you're not in sin, it could be that you're not listening and obeying the Spirit when it's telling you what to do. Number three is you could not be asking for counsel and doing everything on your own. And there's wisdom in the counsel of many. Number four is, did you follow the counsel of your leaders? So some people will get counsel, but they won't do what the leaders tell them to do. And now they're in a predicament because they didn't counsel. I've had people who some counsel, some didn't counsel, and you gave advice to, and they didn't do the advice. Now they're in a predicament that caused them to break commandments. Proverbs 19, verse 20 to 21 says, hear counsel and receive instruction, that thou mayest be wise in thy latter end. So you want to hear counsel and receive instruction. That is, when you get older, that you will be a wise man like the people that are counseling you. Verse 21, there are many devices in a man's heart. Nevertheless, the counsel of the Lord that shall stand. So when you counsel of men of the Lord, a lot of times they're going to be able to get you off that bad path that you're about to go on. So sometimes it's not um, that you may have asked for counsel, but you may have not followed the counsel you were asked. That's for a lot of people. And number five is you could possibly being tested. You could be being tested. 1 Peter 1 verse 7 says that the trial of your faith, the testing of your faith, being much more precious than of gold and that perish, though it be tried by fire. See, sometimes you're going to be tried by fire. Might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Jesus Christ. See, some of you all are going to go through things, and it's whether you're going to pass the test. You're being tried. Some people are being tried. So you can refine yourself and reach the next level. Some of you all are going through situations, uh, marriage situations. You're being a lot of times you're being tried to see if you're going to make it through that test. You make it through that, then you're now able to be elevated to the next level. So you got to be tried to clean you up. So if you find that step 1 through 4 is not what's going on, then it could be you're being tested. But make sure it's not 1 through 4. See, those are in your control. You cannot be in sin. You can keep the laws and not pretend to keep them and half keep them. You can keep the laws. So that's under your control. You can listen to the Spirit when it leads you. That's your option to disobey it or not to hear. That's your choice. Number 3, did you ask counsel from your leaders? That's an option that you can do. If you choose not to ask for counsel, that's your problem. Number 4, did you take the counsel that your leaders gave you? That's your choice. Take that counsel and adhere to it. Everybody don't want to take the counsel of their leaders when they're watching your soul. So that's something you're in control of. The only one that you're not in control of is if you're being tested. If you're being tested, you just have to go through the fire and come out victorious. Some are tested and they fail the test. Some will they will fail the test. You may be on maybe in your past you sold drugs. All of a sudden you're broke and you're trying to figure out a way to make some money because you're about to lose your place or something. And you decide to go back to selling drugs for a second to get out the situation. And you fail the test. It's better to lose everything than break God's laws. And you fail the test. Or you go and decide to work on the Sabbath day. You may fail the test by working on the Sabbath day. Most High put the test in front of you, and you decide, hey, I got to work on the Sabbath day. There's many people working for years on the Sabbath day and try to say God is okay with it because he wouldn't want you to be broke. There's many jobs out there. You chose to work on the Sabbath day. It has nothing to do with the Most High making you or forcing you to work on the Sabbath day. If you're working on the Sabbath day, you can go look for another job and go ahead and switch over. But you've chosen to work on the Sabbath day, and you've been working that job for 6 months, a year, 2 years, and you're coming up with all the excuses in the world. I can't find a job making as much, whatever. I'd rather make less money and keep God's laws than to make all the money in the world. But because you're more after the flesh, then that's why you're in the situation you are. That's why you got sickness on your body. That's why you got cancer. That's why your kids, you got problems with your kids and your wives and everything. It's all because you're breaking God's laws. You don't want to keep the commandments as is written. A lot of you all are failing the test. Majority, a lot of it is because they aren't counseling and because a lot of them are just in sin. So that's pretty much it. I just wanted to do something real quick. It's about 10, 15 minutes. Maybe some people this may help and edify. And with that, I say shalom.